Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Top Rope Takes. I'm Jason Marcus alongside with my good buddy Willie Thrill. Will, how's it going?
Going well. I'm super excited for this upcoming weekend. We got a lot of great stuff to look forward to. And of course, we're going to be reviewing Raw today, which I thought was an awesome go home show that made me excited for the Rumble on Saturday. So excited to get into this.
Yeah, a lot of highlights from this episode of Monday Night Raw, which was always fun. Of course, Royal Rumble, one of the most anticipated pay-per-views on the calendar year. Uh, some people love it more than WrestleMania, so it should be very exciting. We have a lot to talk about here. One of the most all-star studded Rumbles that we are going to see on Saturday, that maybe ever. A lot of comparisons to that 1992 Rumble where you just Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. So I'm excited for this one, Will. And we get kick off Monday Night Raw with Seth Rollins obviously declaring for the Rumble, talking about how he's going to throw all 29 other people over the top rope, especially Roman Reigns, to go on the main event WrestleMania and face none other than the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, who interrupts him and tells Seth that he wants Seth to win the Rumble and face him so they can finally decide who the greatest wrestler in WWE is. And that exchange continues to go on. And then we are interrupted by Logan Paul, which was a surprising one, but Logan Paul also in the Royal Rumble this year. He gets mega heat, which was good to see because I know this time last year at WrestleMania, there was some talk about Logan Paul going on a babyface run, and I am so glad that that feels like it's out of the cards because he's such a natural born heel. So he gets involved in this three-way promo segment running down Seth Rollins and Gunther, talking about how he's going to win the Royal Rumble. I really enjoyed all of this from all three guys.
Yeah, this is a great segment. Rollins coming out. It's funny. We'll get into this for our Rumble predictions video tomorrow, but I really battled this weekend with who I thought could win the Royal Rumble. And one of the names I thought actually had a decent chance that not a lot of people were talking about was Seth Rollins. And I can get into that math some probably in that predictions video because I think there still might be a good chance he wins. But I loved his promo talking about throwing everyone out, especially Roman Reigns, still, tying those two together, hoping it comes down to him and Punk so he could crush Punk's WrestleMania dreams in front of him. And something you didn't mention, he also talked about potentially going after Cody and the irony in that if he goes after Cody, he could take the title from Cody, the same one that he helped him get
Right.
because of the whole thing with Roman hitting Seth over the back with the chair, and then that allowing Cody to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that aspect of it. I thought Gunther was kind of on his like troll stuff with him and Logan Paul. And Logan Paul is just, you're right. He should never be a babyface. We shouldn't have that conversation for like another 5 years, at least minimum, because he comes out, gets massive heat, and he does like the Logan Paul thing of like, look at all the attention I get. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought it just works so well because you believe what Logan Paul is saying from Logan Paul, but it's also just classic like douchebaggery
He's such a
Logan
natural.
Paul, like such
Like,
a natural a-hole, and it's
yeah.
it's perfect for him. So that's why I don't want to see him turn. And I after this segment coming out of it, I'm like, I wouldn't be mad if it was Logan Paul and Gunther at WrestleMania. I really wouldn't. I would love to see Gunther just destroy
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul, steamroll over him. And it would definitely get a ton of heat if Logan Paul somehow ended up winning the Royal Rumble. Do I think that is the direction they're going? Well, you have to find out
Yeah,
tomorrow
I
in
was
our
gonna
Royal
say
Rumble
teaser.
predictions.
I think Gunther and Logan Paul is certainly something that they will do down the line. I don't see it for WrestleMania though.
Way to snuff that out. All right. There you go. No Gunther and Logan Paul. I do want to see it at some point, though. I thought their interaction, their chemistry, uh, going back and forth with each other on the mic, I think there's something there I'd love to see in the future.
All right. So after this segment, we get a backstage segment with CM Punk getting interviewed by Jackie Redmond. He gets, of course, just cutting the generic promo that everybody's cutting all episode about winning the Royal Rumble. He gets interrupted by Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross, and Cody Rhodes all in one segment. A busy segment here. Sets up a CM Punk Cody dynamic for later in the night that we'll get to. And then, of course, Sami Zayn, who's got a match with Drew McIntyre later. So this was kind of a kind of a throwaway, in my opinion, but
A
you
bit of
know,
a throwaway, but I did enjoy like coming off of that segment to cut to Punk and Kathy Kelly asking Punk about Logan Paul, and he just got this look like, gee, Logan Paul, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, yeah, he'll do as well as the other superstars in this. And once again, Sammy confronts Punk, and they bring up, I main evented WrestleMania, you didn't. This is, it's still, I don't know how I feel about that. This is something they keep doing week by week, like differentiating superstars by whether or not they main evented WrestleMania. Not crazy about it, but I get it, especially when it comes to Punk. I think it's a good little crutch there. It didn't make a lot of sense with Uso and Gunther last week. This one I'll kind of give a pass to, but it's an interesting little thing. And I did like when Sami Zayn confronts Punk, then goes talks to Karrion Kross, and then Cody comes up, and Sami Zayn's already just flustered by the interactions I had. He's like, yeah, what, it kind of brushes him off, which does set up something later that was, I thought, phenomenal. So
One thing about the CM Punk story, everything, his entire storyline right now is him having never main evented WrestleMania. He's got to main event WrestleMania, right? He's got to finish the story. That feels like the natural conclusion. Otherwise, this is a big old flop.
I do, and this is coming from, biggest CM Punk fan there is. I don't hate the idea of him not doing it this year and still having it be like the thing that he builds to for WrestleMania 42. But again, you're banking on a lot, and mostly CM Punk's health being a big
Exactly.
factor. So you might want to just do it now. But I like that it's a big motivation for him currently, and they don't have to pay it off at this year's WrestleMania if they don't have to. But it's something that, as a CM Punk fan, you look forward to. Like, is this finally going to be the time that he main
Mm.
events WrestleMania?
After this promo, we get a celebrity roast segment with a bunch of Atlanta rappers. We also see A Town Down Under down there for some reason, which is just a funny juxtaposition. But then after this, we get a match for the tag team championships. We get War Raiders in their first defense of the titles against Judgment Day, JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio. And I thought this was actually one of the best TV matches that I've seen in a long time. I think there's a lot of knock on Raw TV matches specifically for just being too watered down, too safe. This was anything but clearly. And I thought this was a great match. War Raiders retained, but the headline after this is JD McDonough ends ends the match with broken ribs and a punctured lung. We would later find out. He does a move off the top rope to the outside and smacks his head against the announcer's desk. And I'm assuming that's where all the injuries came from. But even Michael Kohler on commentary was like, hey, I'll take back all the mean things I've ever said about him. He's a tough dude. This is the kind of stuff that it's going to be a while before we see him again. But this is the kind of stuff that's going to jumpstart his career.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those like fabled performances. I really do feel that way with JD McDonough. He just kind of, it felt like there wasn't a lot going on for him and there was really no direction for him. But a performance like this is definitely going to gain a lot of respect in the eyes of the fans. And I was just like the fact that he had, first off, you think he's like out of it from the back of his head landing on that announcer's table. And then he gets right back up, and you're right. The commentary team did a great job of being like, how the hell is JD McDonough on his feet continuing in this match? And to find out later that, yeah, he had a broken rib and a punctured lung. I mean, this guy's an absolute trooper. Uh, I like,
He had a
I get why the War
moonsault.
Raiders, yeah, I get why the War Raiders won, and
Mhm.
they definitely needed to win, but JD is going to come back, and I could see JD being like a big face off of this, but it
Mhm.
just depends on how much of this people remember and latch on to. But yeah, I
Yeah.
probably won't be seeing JD McDonough for a while. So I hope he gets better. But what an absolute trooper to finish off that match with a broken rib and punctured lung. That is not an easy feat whatsoever.
Yeah. So credit to JD McDonough. Hopefully he gets well soon. We'll see him soon. And, it all depends on what he does with it. But this is certainly not going to be an opportunity when he does come back to kind of strap the rocket to him. And we'll see where this leads the rest of the Judgment Day because without JD, who's going to fill in that? Like, I guess Carlito
Yeah,
will tag.
I was surprised he didn't fill in like at that moment. Like as
Yeah.
soon as he was hurt, like just throw Carlito in that match, call it on the fly.
Yeah.
But
So I guess we'll be seeing a lot of Carlito and Dominic Mysterio going forward. All right. After this, we have a backstage promo with the New Day and Rey Mysterio. The New Day talking about how Xavier Woods is Atlanta's favorite son. Didn't know Xavier Woods was from Atlanta, but here we go. But the big story is Xavier Woods saying he invited his family to ringside and they haven't shown up yet. This will play into a factor in their match after the fact. But great stuff from the New Day. Everybody hates them. That's kind of the story they're telling right now. Even their family hates them, and I'm loving it. It's
Yeah,
so
they
it's
did.
so it's so quintessential pro wrestling, and it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, they did a bit with Kathy going through like the people from Atlanta. I did know uh Woods was from Atlanta only because of the great story of him and Cody. They competed against each other when they were younger in amateur wrestling. And so that's why I thought it was funny when she brought up like Braun Breaker, Cody Rhodes, even, and she said A-Town Down Unders, Austin Theory, which I thought was just like a very jumbled up word soup there.
Yeah,
But I whatever, it was fine. Yeah, I think the New Day stuff's great. I also did like the backstage segment they aired with they had Butch and Ludwig Kaiser, who are like heel of all heels, but even they were like, nah, we're not rocking with the New Day either.
yeah.
So yeah, let's get into this match because I do have thoughts. I do enjoy the New Day, but I do have thoughts about this.
All right, so you take the lead on this one. Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, well, you mentioned he reserved seats for his family. They're not there. Woods keeps looking over to not find him. Woods gets a lot in this match. He does like a walking vertical suplex deal. Really gets a lot in on Rey Mysterio later on in the match. His family does finally show up next to Little Yachty, which I thought was weird. Like it's like his mother, his father, his sister, and Little Yachty. That's the Xavier Woods family. So he finds them and walks over them, and they reveal that they're all wearing New Day Sucks t-shirts. And this obviously frustrates Xavier Woods, and he gets tripped up by Mysterio 619. Mysterio wins, goes, celebrates with the rest of the family, puts on a New Day Sucks t-shirt. I thought all of it was fine, and I do like these segments because they did a segment on, I believe it was SmackDown with Kofi, or it might have been Raw, with Kofi and his mother. Uh, and his mother walking out on Kofi because of the Big E stuff. I think that's good. I hope there's like a next step that's thought over and played out because I thought they're
Right.
kind of like it feels like they're delaying for something big to happen. I am hoping it does result in something in the Rumble
Yeah.
involving Big E, but I am slowly like this is the start of me being like, okay, let's get to the next thing. Like I
Right.
get it. Everyone hates the New Day, even their family hates them,
Mm.
but let's get to the next segment
No,
of
I
this.
agree. I think potentially they could be the next challengers for War Raiders. I think that would be the next logical step. But I agree with you. I hope they have something planned, and it's just not all right. We turned him heel, and now they kind of go to the wayside.
Yeah.
All right. After this match, we have another promo segment. This time from Jay Uso, who comes through the crowd with Quavo. I listen. Say what you want about Jay Uso. I thought his match with Gunther Saturday Night's Main Event was his best match to date. But his entrance is so electric. The drone shot specifically, I love. Just with everybody eating, coming through the crowd. I thought this was electric. Jey Uso just cuts a generic promo about, he's still going to win the Royal Rumble like everybody else does. The highlight of this for me was Michael Cole's awkward ass trying to dap up Quavo and Pat McAfee roasting him for it. I loved this entire thing.
Yeah, that was hilarious when when he goes to dap up Quavo, he clearly misses that. Michael Cole's like, he just doesn't know my style. And Pat McAfee's like, no one knows your style. Like, I thought that was a good back and forth. I do like Michael Cole and Pat McAfee have like, it's a different dynamic from Cole and Wade Barrett. Like, I do enjoy it. That's more of like a
Yeah,
classic commentator dynamic, but there's just like two buddies who
yeah.
love ragging on each other.
It's
And
very much Gorilla and Heenan, I feel like.
okay, yeah. There's he comes out with Quavo. It's funny because I praised Jey Uso with doing the yeet with kids. He actually does yeet with some kids in the crowd here, but he does this with rappers too, and it feels like almost the exact same thing where these rappers just turn into little kids where they're just with their excitement coming out of the crowd. It feels like they're living their dream of being a WWE superstar while doing this entrance. So
Yeah.
I think that adds to Jey Uso's cool factor, I think, when he
Yeah.
comes out with these rappers and he's coming through the crowd, he's doing the yeet thing.
Yeah.
It was great. And you mentioned the Saturday Night's Main Event match. That near fall, I think, is part of the magic of Jey Uso when he did hit the Uso splash because no one going in bought that he was beating Gunther. And during the
Right.
match, I didn't buy he was beating Gunther. But in that crowd, when he hit the Uso splash, everyone in that building thought just for a second,
Yeah.
there's no way he's actually gonna win this world title. This is the moment. And then just at the last second, Gunther kicking out. So
Hmm.
I do think this ultimately does result at some point with Jey Uso beating Gunther. Whether it's for the title or not, who knows? But I think that's what this comes down to. And I think he cut a good promo, making him, I think, and I've seen this a lot online. Like people actually do want Jey Uso to win the Rumble, and like they
Hmm.
see him as like one of the favorites.
Yeah, I
We'll
don't.
see, but
Spoiler.
people are on that bandwagon now, which I definitely would not have thought, you know, before last weekend. So
Right. Yeah, good stuff from Jey Uso. One last thing on this segment. I want to give credit to WWE and Triple H specifically since they've gone to Netflix. They've done a really good job of incorporating a lot of celebrities, a lot of like streamers, a lot of like important people and like for like the youth culture right now. That's so important in any business to capture that young audience, and they're doing a really good job of it. And something I noticed, and I think it's really cool.
yeah, we're gonna get Kai Sinat and I Show Speed at the Rumble. So we'll see
Yeah,
what that bring. They're like advertising it, so that makes me kind of worried. I don't know if worried is the right word, but I'm cautious about them possibly being Rumble entrants. I don't think that that should be the case, but
no. I think they'll
uh,
do a backstage segment. There's too many people to waste
I
two
think they come
spots.
out with like Logan Paul, but
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know it. I don't know how that would work out necessarily, but I just hope that it's not like, yeah, they'll probably do backstage segments. Let's hope that that's the case.
All right, so after this segment, we do our this is our women's block of the night. We start off with a promo from Lyra Valkyria backstage after winning the women's Intercontinental Championship. She talks about how she's going to enter the Royal Rumble. She's ready to defend it, and her first challenger we see get set up is Ivy Nile of American Alpha. Chad Gable saying that Ivy Nile is going to win the title for him. I mean, for the team. And then Lyra Valkyria is like, this is the closest that either of you are going to get to an Intercontinental Championship. This also transitions into a segment where Maxine was teaching Otis and Akira Tozawa a TikTok dance, it seemed like. So weird stuff here, but it's fun.
Yeah, a TikTok dance that looked like the dance was from like the 1960s. Like they were doing one of these. Like that's something you do and you listen to Chubby Checkers back in the day. But no, I thought this was a fun segment. Lyra getting in that jab at Chad Gable about this is the closest you'll get to the Intercontinental Championship was fun. Ivy calls Maxine Twinkle Toes, so she needs to stop listening to the Jim Cornette podcast. But
Jesus.
fair enough. There's probably some sort of program there. I wouldn't mind actually, because we didn't mention the Creed brothers are also out there for the War Raiders match. I
Yes.
wouldn't mind if the direction they went was Creed brothers win the tag titles,
Mm-hmm.
Ivy wins the Intercontinental Championship, but then Chad Gable
Is
fails
the
to
only
win
one
a
without
singles
gold.
title, and that causes some sort of rift
Yeah.
in the American made.
I think it's too early to blow that up, but I definitely see where you're coming from. I think it would be a nice wrinkle to the story here.
Yeah.
And we'll see, but it looks like we're getting Lyra and Ivy on a Raw in the coming weeks. All right, next we have a women's tag team match: Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair and Naomi. Good match, nothing notable here. The finish is it looks like Naomi's going to get the win when she hits a split-legged moonsault on Liv, but then Raquel hits the Tejada bomb on Naomi on the ringside apron, throws her back in, and Liv gets the cover. Good match. All four women are in the Royal Rumble. Nothing super notable here.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy. Dom does help Liv in this instance, as well as, Raquel being the heavy in this. So I like that as a tag team dynamic. I think it helps with keeping uh this group as a unit, Dom helping Liv and whatnot. But yeah, just kind of a nothing thing. But I do see Raquel and Liv possibly winning the tag titles to just kind of give
I
them
agree.
something to keep them as like a
Relevant.
hot group. Yeah, relevant, I guess would be the word. So yeah, kind of a nothing segment, but I get it.
Yeah, good stuff here. This is immediately followed by a Bailey, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky backstage promo again, all declaring for the Royal Rumble. They tease a Bailey and Rhea world title match, which I wouldn't be mad about. I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Bailey's probably one of the bigger favorites. I don't know if she's going to win necessarily, but
Mm,
I could be convinced. I did like that they brought Io back in the fold because I do think Io is another potential favorite, and they've done a terrible job of building her up as such. So this one
I agree.
segment did kind of help with that, and I am at least intrigued. A of where these two could end up in the Rumble, a possible stare down, what happens when these two meet in the Rumble. I thought they did a good job building that. And Rhea's just a superstar. So I thought just having Rhea have a presence on this show was great, on its own.
Yeah, no, she's so magnetic, and it'll be interesting to see what direction they do here. Certainly, like you said, Bailey and Io, some of the favorites going into the Women's Royal Rumble this weekend, but should be fun stuff regardless. Alrighty, after this, we now have a promo from Paul Heyman. No Roman Reigns,
Wait,
but
wait, wait.
Paul.
Before you get into
Oh,
this, you're missing out on a huge segment. One of the funniest things. They did the padistrator,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Michael Cole's WrestleMania 27 appearance,
Yes, yes.
which was great. He was like counting the rolls of Michael
Mm-hmm.
Cole and like circling his junk. I thought that was hilarious. And then they also brought it back to Michael Cole missing the
Handshake.
tap ups with Quavo and saying,
Yes.
you should just leave it. Stick to the handshakes,
Yeah,
Michael
you
Cole.
need to
And
live
I,
here.
yeah, just for just a quick fun fact for everyone watching. WrestleMania 27, believe it or not, was the first WrestleMania I saw live.
Wow.
So
It's
yeah,
amazing you were still a fan after that.
I know it really. I was really on the fence after that, but it was weird because at the time, as a kid, I didn't have like a barometer for whether
What
this
was
was a
good
good
or
or
not?
bad Rumble. So it really was like I was just watching it at that point because I had friends who watched it,
Yeah.
whatnot. The thing that really got me hooked into it was what came months later with the pipe bomb.
Yes.
And then that kind of further expanded my wrestling thing. But if the pipe bomb doesn't happen
Mm.
coming off that WrestleMania, who knows where I'm at right now in my
Wow.
career?
What a butterfly effect. Are you so you're
Yeah.
saying that the Snooki match didn't get you hooked into?
No, not the Snooki match. Although Snooki was really huge at that time. Like we
She
forget
was. Well,
how huge Jersey Shore was.
yeah.
So, and people did, they just like the move. I don't know if
Yeah.
they like the match, but they did like the move, the backhand spring.
Yes. Well, Snooki for MVP. You also got Undertaker Triple H on that card, so it wasn't all
Yeah.
terrible.
And Snooki's backhand spring was so good that Mike Bailey decided to pick it up and do
Yeah.
that move. So good for him.
Inspired by Snooki. Everybody
Yeah,
knows that.
of course.
All right. So this leads us to the Paul Heyman promo where he announces that Roman Reigns is the cover superstar for WWE 2K25. We kind of speculated this last week, but we make it official with a big poster coming down from the ceiling, talking about how Roman Reigns, in typical Paul Heyman fashion, I can't do it justice, nor will I. But good stuff here. Talking about how Roman's going to win the Rumble. I mean, and it's Paul Heyman in a way that's like it's kind of nothing wrapped up in like a big presentation. But either way, interrupted by Drew McIntyre. Um, it was fine. I kind of felt like it didn't really need to happen, but it was
I
okay.
actually I really enjoyed this segment. You mentioned Paul Heyman doing the sort of Paul Heyman shtick with, there's a bunch of Roman Reigns wannabes and there's only one Roman Reigns. I thought that was good just because Paul Heyman's just like an entertaining presence on the mic. No matter what he says, I'm locked in. But you're right. It was just a pretty standard Paul Heyman promo, which of course is better than like 95% of promos you'll hear. But when Drew came out, I thought this segment really did take a step up because Drew made an awesome point about him being like the catalyst for the bloodline. And I liked how he laid out. If you were a first time viewer, like one of the new Netflix viewers, you kind of got some good backstory from how Drew plays into this bloodline stuff, how he defeated Paul Heyman's former client, Brock Lesnar, at that WrestleMania,
Yeah,
all those years ago. And that led Paul Heyman down this path where he was lost and finally met up with Roman Reigns, who is also kind of,
lost. Yeah.
in this abyss where he didn't really know what he was doing. And them coming together formed this whole bloodline that we see
Mm-hmm.
has sprawled off into so many different stories. It seems like a lot of superstars nowadays, their storylines are in some way, shape, or form motivated by
By the
the
blood.
bloodline and what they've
Yeah.
done over the past 4 years. So I like Drew claiming that, doing the like, I just say thank you, Drew, and Paul Heyman's like, thank you, but you're kind of crowding me right now. And
Yeah.
Drew, and this is like very subtle, but I did enjoy this part when Drew says, I'll back off. I'll do you a favor. I'll back off, but you gotta do me a favor. And off mic, Paul Heyman just goes, I owe a lot of favors. He just goes, what's the favor? And he says, tell your boy that I'm going to be targeting him at the Royal Rumble. And
Mm.
Paul Heyman's happy to oblige. I'll tell Roman Reigns, but he goes, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. I wasn't talking about Roman Reigns. He knows I'm going after him. I'm talking about your boy CM Punk. And I think that
Ooh.
just was another thing that helped add intrigue to the Rumble because we still don't know what this favor is. Does it somehow unfold in the Rumble? We don't know, but just keeping that relationship alive with Punk and Heyman and still having it tie into Roman, I enjoyed all this stuff. And I do, because I was still questioning what Roman does if it ends up not being him and Punk, which, it could obviously still be, but I wouldn't mind if the direction for Mania was Drew and Roman. I think I'd be very interested in something like that at WrestleMania.
I'd have to disagree on that one. I think I've seen that too much. I think maybe from a story perspective it makes sense, but I want to see a fresh new matchup, and that doesn't really do it for me. But I agree, Drew's been great. He was great in the segment, and he's deserving of something good at WrestleMania for sure. This leads into a match between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. Drew gets the win, and Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens come out after the match to kind of even the odds, which leads to Sami Zayn accidentally hitting a haluva kick on Cody Rhodes, much like he did last week to Seth Rollins to end Monday Night Raw. Um, Good match between Sami and Drew. Obviously sets up the chaos of the Royal Rumble. I loved the closing shot of this segment where after Sami hits the haluva kick on Cody, and you look up on this like low angle shot or high angle shot, and it's Sami standing next to Kevin Owens over top of Cody Rhodes, kind of teasing like where does Sami Zayn's loyalty lie? And I love this. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought just 100% across the board, great stuff because I do enjoy this Sammy Drew kind of mini story they have where Sammy hasn't been able to defeat Drew, and then for them to keep that going with Drew getting a cheap win over Sami Zayn was great. Yeah, Cody coming out to save Sammy and go after Drew. Kevin Owens coming out starting to brawl, and you mentioned the kick. I just love that this is something that like is kind of bringing Sammy down. Like Sammy's starting to lose control seemingly over what he's doing. And I did love KO's face for this. Like, hey, great stuff. Like, I'll see you at the Rumble. He just didn't even pretend like this could have been an accident. Just like, oh no, Sammy's on my side, and he was wearing that Sami Zayn Forever shirt, which is great. Harkening back to the Jackass match, one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time.
Go check it out.
Uh, so I thought this was great, and I like it was weird when I was watching the replay of this. They brought up like the end of show graphics, and I thought, wait a second, no, I saw on YouTube there was a Punk Cody segment. What's going on here? But
Yeah,
then I checked, there's still like 10 minutes left. So I was like, okay, thank God, they still
this was
have this.
very weird. This is something that I feel like they've only been able to do on Netflix, where that seemed like the natural conclusion of Raw that we would have seen. And then, yeah, like you said, there was like an almost a dark segment that we'll get to in a minute, and I thought that was a weird way to do it. But I thought it's different, so I'm a fan of it.
It was weird, but then what came after made it all worth it. So
Yeah, it
we
was
should
great
get
stuff.
into it.
All right, so let's get into it. So after the Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes stuff, Sami and KO clear out. We're left with just Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring. Cody Rhodes' character is starting to unravel. He doesn't know who his true friends are. Everybody seems to be turning on him, and I'm planting seeds of a potential heel turn because Cody Rhodes is kind of like he like I said, he's unraveling. And but anyway, he just starts to cut a promo, and then he's interrupted by CM Punk, your boy. They go back, have a nice back and forth that only the two can. They have some really great lines in here. I don't know if you picked any of them out. Um, but I mean, again, just kind of setting up to what felt like to me like this could very well be the direction for WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, this was great. I could go beat by beat because I was just so enthralled by this segment. Cody was talking about the championship match he has Saturday. You mentioned him not having many friends left, and he's looking forward to just getting this match, trying to get the win. And if he does, moving past this whole Kevin Owens situation, which then prompts CM Punk's music to hit. And immediately you're like, okay, we're going face to face like we did last year. And I was already excited for that. CM Punk just asking Cody if he's okay. He's had the long championship run. Calls back to the 434-day reign, and around 300 days, he ended up becoming someone that he didn't enjoy being and lost a lot of friends because of it. Um, and Cody is then being like, well, I might not have a lot of friends, but we're friends, right? And Punk says, they'll always be friends. Just wants to let him know that. And it might be in part because of his relationship that Punk had with his father
Hmm.
as it pertains to mentoring Cody and keeping his a promise with his
I could just
father.
jump in for a second. I hate that
Yeah.
they constantly bring up Dusty Rhodes. Like to me, it's just so cheap. And like I can only imagine, maybe it's just like empathizing with Cody, but like I feel like every promo, these like they always invoke his father, and it feels like overused to me.
I can see that, but I thought it worked well in this because it was one of those like it was like a double-edged sword or
Mm,
like just the way Punk brought it up, saying that he's obviously going to be friends with him and
mm,
bringing up his father in this instance made it great because he's like he's not dissing his father, but at the same
right.
time it is a dig at Cody being like the only reason why we could be friends is because I made a promise to your father. And I thought there's a great interview that not Punk, Paul Heyman did a while ago, and he was talking to Rick Rubin.
Mm,
And in that interview, he was talking about the story of Cody Rhodes and how all of these people around Cody Rhodes have shared memories with his father, and
yeah.
how that should be something that Cody Rhodes is happy to see that his father meant so much to all these people. But deep down, it's almost a dig because it's like all of you people shared these moments with my father, and he's like personal to me. That's my
Right.
father. Like I want to have these moments that are exclusive to me,
Yeah.
and the fact that you guys all have this memory about of my dad, I'm the one who knows my dad the best.
Yeah.
So I thought it worked well in this segment. But to continue here, Cody does bring up the fact that they did go face to face last year and how a lot of what Punk said did actually come true. It didn't involve CM Punk, but the stuff about there's a bigger superstar coming across, he's going to take your WrestleMania spot. Congratulations on getting the cover. It doesn't mean, you know, shit for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
I thought that was all great. And he's curious, what does Punk think is in store for Cody? Punk talks about, you'll do media days, you'll have grind as champion, you're lucky to be sleeping in the same bed you're in tonight. But at the end of the day, while you're doing all this, while you're grinding as champion and thinking about this ladder match and what comes after if you're able to retain, there's someone else who's going to be training, trying to get stronger than ever, ready for him to take a WrestleMania spot. And that's just the good news. And Cody's like, all right, what's the bad news? And Punk's like, it's that person's going to be me. And he's talking about how all these people have stabbed you in the back, but Punk is going to do it face to face. And I'm going to stab you from the front and I'm going to take that title. And at that moment, I'm already sold. Like they've given me Punk Cody at Mania, but they keep going. Cody I thought Cody's response was awesome, talking
He.
about how everyone was chasing you. When we
Yeah.
started OVW and you got called up and ended up winning the World Heavyweight title, people were chasing you. For 10 years,
Hmm.
we had to hear CM Punk, and everyone was still in that shadow trying to chase you. And the funny thing about it is the dynamic has completely changed, and now you're the one chasing me. So I hope you can catch up. And Punk goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I wasn't finished because a lot of people want me to catch up and until I actually do. And then
Right.
once I catch up, there's like this whole graveyard of people that
Mm,
he's caught up to and surpassed. But Cody is then like, no, 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 I'm not done. I want you to realize, I want you to win the Rumble so that I could see your face when you realize
mm,
that the best in the world is not the best in the world anymore.
I
And
love
that
it.
was like the killer line
Mm,
to end this promo segment. So just to recap this for everyone, Cody and Punk, since Punk's return, have had two in-ring segments,
mm.
and both have been A plus plus. They have
Okay.
been out of this world, and so I'm hoping coming off of this that they do this match, and
Yeah.
I would
That's
love
what
it
it felt
for to be
like.
at this year's WrestleMania. Maybe they put it off for some other time. Maybe they're still like slow building this Cody
Mm.
Punk match. But man, after seeing this, I'm like, give me this match as soon as possible. I want to see it at this year's WrestleMania.
I think it's an interesting decision to have this close the show before the Royal Rumble. I don't. That's clearly not, obviously not an accident. It's intentional. So definitely makes me lean towards we're going to be seeing this sooner rather than later. But a great segment. Cody's such an underrated promo. To be able, the fact that he's able to hit home runs off the cuff like that, is so impressive. And we know CM Punk's promo skills. That's well documented. But Cody gets lost in the shuffle when you talk about the greatest on the mic of all time. And he's up there. He's very much a comparative to John Cena in that sense, where he can just listen and he can just respond and hit home runs. And it's always a fun time to watch, and especially when you have two of the best going at it on the mic.
Yeah, no, he's because Cody can definitely hold his own when he's just cutting a promo out there by himself. He's one of those guys still. Like there's a few I can maybe count them on one hand of people who when they're in the ring and they have a microphone, I'm like locked in every single time. Doesn't matter what they're doing on what show. And Cody's one of those people. So is Punk. So these two together, it's just magic. And what I love about Cody and Punk is especially at this point in the story when Cody is unraveling, the perfect guy for him to go head up with is CM Punk, a guy who is beloved, but has morals that, sometimes can be shaky. And sometimes people don't always agree with whatever CM Punk is doing, whether it's, in the ring or outside of the ring. So these two going back and forth, it makes sense. It works so well. And it's something that they still have more stuff that they can dive into if they decide to do a full-fledged feud going into WrestleMania. So I am hoping it's this year. What we don't know what's going to happen. I still personally am conflicted as to who could win this Rumble, but that's what makes this Rumble so exciting is that so many people
Yeah,
have such a great case for winning the Rumble, and I wouldn't be mad at any of them winning the Rumble. So
yeah, I still sit here undecided. Obviously, we're gonna get you an answer soon because our Rumble prediction videos will be up very quickly. But it's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan. I love not having a clear answer, not knowing what's gonna happen. That makes it the best product. So
100% looking forward to this weekend.
overall, great go home episode of Monday Night Raw. We're really excited for the Royal Rumble this Saturday. The road to WrestleMania is around the corner. Any final thoughts, Will?
Just stay on the lookout. Tomorrow, we're going to be dropping our Royal Rumble predictions video.
Yes.
And like I said, I won't know who I'm predicting until I make that prediction tomorrow on the show. So definitely look forward to it. There's still plenty of possibilities running through my mind. I'm going to be riffing off some things I want to see happen in both Royal Rumble matches. So stay tuned for that. And yeah,
All righty. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you for our Rumble predictions. But until then, we will see you next time.
peace.